Hello.
Hello. 35 years ago, during the Second World War, it was an all-too-familiar sight to see the skies of Britain crisscrossed with the beams of searchlights seeking out enemy planes.
And it was really during the Blitz that those searchlights were at their busiest. Once they'd located the enemy planes, then the huge anti-aircraft guns would swing into action and try and stop the bombs being dropped on our towns and cities. There's no doubt at all, if it hadn't been for those searchlights, many of which incidentally were manned by women, then the bomb damage would have been far greater.
After the war, of course, there was no use for the searchlights, and they nearly all were sold for scrap. But one in particular survived, and early this morning we manoeuvred all 20 hundredweight of it right here.
And manoeuvre really is the correct word, because it's a colossal, heavy piece of machinery, and it took us a great deal of time to get it into position right here in the War.Peter studio. Well, during the last war, at the height of the Blitz, there were thousands of searchlights just like this one in operation all over the country. They came in two sizes, large and small, and this is one of the small ones and would originally have been mounted on a lorry. It was discovered by a Mr. Purser, who comes from Margate. Apparently, for the last 30 years, this searchlight has seen active service lighting a car park in the town. Well, Mr. Purser was able to save it from the scrap heap, and he's offered it to the Royal Air Force Museum at Hendon. And they've leapt at the chance of having this wartime searchlight as an exhibit in the museum. So straight after War.Peter today, that's where it's going off to its new home. But of course there, it'll have to be cleaned and stripped down. Things like the panel that's missing from this side here. This will have to be replaced. And inside there's a fuse box, just like you find in an ordinary house. Well, that shouldn't be there, and that'll have to go too.
Peter, if you just swing it around a bit, we can see inside this lamp housing. Because just there, right at the back, you can see it. There's a huge, great concave mirrored piece of glass, and this glass sort of pushes out the light. Now, originally, that light came from two carbon rods, and they pushed out 200 million candle power. And it was created by making an electric current jump between the two carbon rods like this. Now, the top one would move along that way, and the bottom one would move up, and they both eat themselves away, but the top one would last the shortest time, just half an hour. Well, while this was in use in the car park, the arcs have been removed, and under that flap, if you look inside, you'll see just two ordinary light bulbs.
Well, hardly ordinary, Johnny, because they're 1,000 watts apiece, those two. Anyway, Mr. Purser, until this morning, thought that this was the only searchlight, wartime searchlight, in captivity. But we had a phone call from the commander of the Army's only remaining searchlight unit to say that he's got 8 searchlights almost identical to this one. He very kindly arranged for one of them to be sent up to the studio for us to take a look at today. Here it is, of course, mounted on the back of a lorry, just as that one would have been during the war, and it is really looking in first-class working order.
Well, I'm sure in 12 months' time, when this old one here has been renovated, I should think it'll be one of the most popular exhibits of the RAF Museum at Hendon.
Well, as John said, we recorded that earlier on this morning, and with very good reason. What we wanted to do was to show you the searchlights all lit up, but that would have been really rather pointless here in the studio. So after the recording, we manoeuvred the searchlights, and we set them up outside the BBC Television Centre's main entrance. And I think John, Pete and Shep are out there right now, all ready for the grand switch on.
And here outside the television centre, we're incredibly lucky because the snow, rain and freezing cold weather seems to have gone. It's quite mild and rather pleasant out here just at the moment. Well, right beside me is the Margate searchlight that we have brought out here, and I'm ready now to switch it on. So here goes. And there it is, shining away with 2 kilowatts of power. You can just see the light filling out there in front, but it's hardly a beam, not very powerful. So what I'm going to do is use it to swing it round and shed a bit of light on what Johnny's doing.
Right. Oh, lovely. I'll do the dance now. Well, actually, what I'm going to show you is the beam of that when it's restored, because I'm going to swing this Army searchlight round and then switch it on. So, are you ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Cross your fingers. Go. Is it on? Oh, ho!
Has it not gone on?
It's not on. Here comes the Army.
We can always
to the
get the Army
rescue.
in on this.
What's happened? Hang on, we've had a little bit of a panic, but not to worry.
Well, this is what happens with the carbon rods that Johnny was talking about inside. If there it is.
Oh, that's it.
So they've made the spark. Thank goodness for that. That was a close shave.
It
Pan
was.
it left, Johnny. It makes an incredibly nice blue light there, and John's panning it over the offices at the front of the television centre. Right at the top there, that is actually John Craven's Newsround office
Is that
we're
him?
shining on. I don't think that's John walking along below. on down a few floors, right down to the ground. In fact, right in the centre there is the huge fountain where Roy Castle danced with the 500 tap dancers and his all-star record breakers. Go left, young man.
All right, go left.
And we're swinging the lamp around now against the wall of the biggest television studio in Europe. That's Television Centre Studio 1. You can see the name, BBC Television Centre there. And up above it, that skyscraper, well, that's where the Blue Peter office is. You can't see it there.
They're
it's
waving.
Below that level.
I can see them waving.
Well, they're waving there because that is Noel Edmonds' swap shop office. Hi, you lot. Nice to see you waving there. And perhaps you'd like to swap something for these splendid searchlights.
Well, what we're going to do now is try another experiment, because we've had to get permission from the Civil Aviation Authority to beam this light up into the air. You see, the aeroplanes go over that way towards Heathrow. That's why we had to get permission, so here we go.
Actually, it's quite a test. Oh, there it is, yeah.
Lovely.
We weren't sure whether we'd get this pencil of light because, of course, it's been too light all day for us to see whether the beam works, but it really does, shining up towards the clouds there. Very effective, Johnny.
It's super, isn't it?
Yeah, I think maybe we better bring it down again before we...
bring a VC-10 down.
Yeah. Well, in 1 year's time, this Margate searchlight will be just as efficient, we hope, as that one of the armies. And we think Mr. Peirce has done a marvellous job on saving this from the scrap heap. In a year's time, or rather in 20 minutes' time, a little bit earlier, it'll be on the back of a lorry going out through our gates on its way to Hendon, where it'll stay, where it'll be restored, and in a year's time it'll go on display with lots of other exhibits in the new Battle of Britain section. I'm glad we got that one working. Now back to Lesley in the studio.
Sounds well worth a visit, that. Now, I want to show you something that I think is rather remarkable. By using a combination of real people, drawings, infrared photography and microphotography, a group of Canadians have made a film of an incredible journey. The route they take is actually impossible because without making a single stop, they take off from the Earth and they go into space, zooming past the Moon, the Sun, the planets. They go straight the way through the Milky Way into the galaxies beyond. And as if that wasn't enough, with lightning speed, they send you shooting back to Earth. The film has been made by the National Film Board of Canada, and it's called Cosmic Zoom. The story starts on the St. Lawrence River with this boy rowing his boat. You might think that the filmmakers would stop here because they've reached the outer edges of our galaxy, but they haven't. This incredible journey is still carrying on through the Milky Way and out to the furthest stars and planets in galaxies millions and millions of light years away from the Earth. Now the camera has nearly reached the end of its non-stop journey. The filmmakers could have gone on and on forever, because as far as we know, the universe never stops. But instead, they decided to do the journey in reverse and return to Earth, travelling at double speed.
Film shows in pictures, I think, just about as near to the image of infinity and space continuing on and on as anything I've ever seen. I think it's a stunning film. And in fact, there's a second half to it, which we'll show you some other time, which goes the other way, into the person. And very interesting it is, too. Well, as John Craven said just before we went on the air tonight, there are snowstorms all over the southeast. Well, I've just been outside and it's beautiful here in London, so maybe we're just in the one lucky spot. But if you live in somewhere like the Peak District of Derbyshire or Cumbria, you'll have been having frost and snow showers for the last couple of months. It's the time of year when conditions are at their very worst for wild birds, and it's very difficult for them to find any kind of natural food. Well, snow-covered trees may look pretty on a Christmas card, but for the birds who have to hunt for food, winter is a difficult and dangerous time. Worms are scarce because the ground's often frozen, and the snow hides most of the remaining berries and natural food that birds can find for themselves during the rest of the year. For many of them, their only hope is if someone takes the trouble to put out food and water so they don't always use up their energy on a wasted flight. Well, I certainly wouldn't enjoy being one of those birds, having to search for food in thick snow. And this is where human beings can help, by providing food during bad weather. Some birds will take food from a bird table, but others, like this thrush, prefer to feed on the ground. Birds like blackbirds and robins would also rather eat on the ground. And they like fruit, especially overripe apples, and it's a very good way of using them up. Well, you find that different species of birds prefer different types of food. Some like seeds, some like nuts, and a great many enjoy fat, like dripping or suet. And all of these can be strung up on branches or hooked onto the railings of a balcony if you happen to live in a flat, or even put in a special bird feeder. Well, this is the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds nut feeder. And peanuts are really excellent, full of protein. Many birds like them, birds like finches. In fact, tits like them too, and they give you a great performance as they feed. Well, as you see there, you don't have to buy special bird feeders. There are all sorts of ways that you can help the birds. I've got one or two very quick and useful ideas here. For instance, a coconut, like this, half a coconut, and with a hole drilled through it, a piece of string and a button to fix it, it'll then hang up perfectly like that, and the birds can nibble away at here. Things like great tits and coal tits, I think even blue tits, rather like this. And a very simple thing that almost anybody can do, just thread together some monkey nuts like this on reasonable string, not just thin thread. Just thread them through with a needle, hang them up, and the birds will have a grand old time attacking those. Something else that many birds like, potato skins, baked potato skins at that. And when you've eaten the potato inside yourself, just put these out. They'll thoroughly enjoy that. And also, if you've grown any sunflowers, now is the time to put the heads out. The birds really enjoy it this time of year, getting at the seeds in there. And something else that I think is an extremely good idea, just a log, some holes drilled in it, squeezed full of fat and dripping, those holes, then a screw eye at the top here, piece of string, hang it up, and the birds can get a purchase on the bark and nibble away quite happily at all that. And of course, you can always restock it. But, word of warning, birds, even in the coldest weather, must have something to drink. And the easiest way to give them something to drink is to put out fresh water every day, because it will freeze. 3 bricks like this. On top of it, a dustbin lid or some other shallow bowl, and I do mean a shallow bowl, like that, and then just pour in the water, and you want only a depth of about half an inch. Of course, the birds will be able to bathe in this as well. That's just about the depth they like.
That's a lovely idea, is that, isn't it?
It is, isn't
yeah.
it? Small.
Of course, if you put a little candle on, it wouldn't freeze, would it? Actually, from...
Clever, you're so clever.
From birds to animals, rabbits in particular. Well, actually, one of my favourites is Bugs Bunny with his distinctive voice. Here is a scene from an episode called A Case of the Missing Hair, when Bugs comes face to face with a travelling magician.
Low bridge. I live here. It's my home. Such as it is. Look, Doc. Do I go around nailing signs over your house? Do I? There's still such a thing as private property, you know. Did you ever hear of the inalienable right of the sanctity of the home? Forgive me, my friend. Do you like blackberry pie? No. Did you say blackberry pie? Yum, yummy. We'll have some. What a dumb bunny. Of course, you realize this means war.
It always does, doesn't it? Actually, the man behind that voice of Bugs is very famous in the cartoon world. He's called Mel Blanc, and he's created not only Bugs, but voices for the Flintstones, Tweety Pie, Sylvester, and many, many more. Yesterday, he was in London on a flying visit, and I went along to his press conference that was held at the Hilton Hotel to meet him just before he flew off to America. Oh, we've lost the film. I've just been told we have lost the film. Now, this is a moment where you have a huge panic, because up there in the control room, they'll be picking up telephones, they'll be going wild, won't they? And we're just sat here. We're not worried, are we? We're not getting ulcers over this. I don't know what's gone wrong. I'll shout to the floor manager. Chris, what's happened?
We're all right. The film's coming up, John.
He's coming?
Yes.
Oh, thank goodness. I'd hate to miss Mel, because he's a super fella. He really was. We had a lovely chat after the press conference, because he gave me a bit of time to himself. Hey, what are you saying? Link to Peter, sorry.
You're not going to see Mel after all?
No, what we're going to do is go straight out to Pete now, who's freezing to death, the poor lad, outside. We've got some hot potatoes. I think we ought to take them out to him. Pete, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Johnny, and I came out actually to stargaze with my Christmas present umbrella, but I hope we'll probably be going back to the Mel Blanc film in just a moment. So let's get on with this. Actually, I've come out here because to make this umbrella work, which is transparent, if you remember, you don't need wet, which is just as well, because it is dry. You need dark, because this is a stargazer's umbrella. The idea is that you point this shaft up at the North Star, and then you can read off on a huge map printed on the cover of the umbrella the different stars that you see up there in the sky. Now, this is an idea, an invention by Mr. Sharp of West Horsley. He looked up at the sky one night and he thought, well, I suppose it does look rather like an umbrella. So, with the help of his son, who's an astronomer and has the use of a computer, they planned a star map to put on the umbrella cover just like this. I'm going to hold this over now by camera 4, because on here, all 136 stars and planets which can normally be seen on a clear night in the Northern Hemisphere are marked on the cover itself, and the better known of them, or rather the more important ones, they are named. Now, the whole thing is done in fluorescent ink. So just by shining a torch on anything you want to identify, there's Cassiopeia there, or might want Andromeda down here on the side, you just shine your torch on and it'll shine out even in the dark. The interesting thing about this is that it works no matter where you are, Northern Hemisphere, wherever you are in the Northern Hemisphere. Obviously it doesn't work for the Southern Hemisphere. And the only way to be certain that you're getting the right thing is if the angle of this shaft is pointed correctly at the North Star. In London, the angle is supposed to be 51 degrees. Well, in fact, I should be able to see the star tonight, but we've so many television lights here that I can't, but about there, and then you'd angle this around, and the shapes and other stars would line up with the others you could see in the sky, and you could read any of them off that you wanted. I think it's a great idea. Oh, hi, you two. What are you doing?
Hey, we've had a right panic in there, we have.
I can hear. What happened?
Yeah, well, Mel Blanc's film went down.
Has it still gone? Oh, we've got it back.
We've got it.
So, introduce it, young man.
To you I shall introduce Mel Blanc once more. Actually, it was a lovely chat we had, And he starts off like this. Hello, Mr. Blank.
What's up, John? Hey, Doc.
That's brought Shep
Hello,
in.
Shepala.
He wants to know what's happening. Tell me, how did you discover you could do these strange voices?
Well, actually, I did many dialects before I did change of voices.
Yeah.
And I knew that in the various dialects, I could make them sound like different people.
Can you remember the very first character you did?
I think it was a drunken bull.
Yes.
Yes. They asked me to do a drunken bull, and I had to create the voice for a drunken bull. So I gave him a voice for about having a little too much of the sour mash.
When you're given a new character, how do you sort of work out what sort of voice he's going to have?
Well, they show me the character, and they ask me to create a voice for it. They tell me what the story is going to be in the cartoon.
Yeah.
Like Porky Pig, they said was a timid little character, and I had to give him a timid voice. So I gave him a timid voice. Bugs Bunny, they said, was a tough little stinker, and he had to be have a real tough voice. So I thought, which is the toughest voice in the United States, either Brooklyn or the Bronx near New York? So I put the two of them together and made him a real tough little character.
That's one of your favourites?
Yes, Bug seems to be the favourite with most people.
Yeah. Well, one of the new ones that's come along recently is the Roadrunner.
The Roadrunner, all the Roadrunners is beep, 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 beep.
How many voices do you reckon you've done in your career?
To put it mildly, I'll say around 400.
400?
I've made over 3,000 cartoons.
Yes.
I used to drive around in my car, and I'd see an animal and wonder how it could speak, if it could speak.
Yeah.
Like a little kitten, for example. Indicate it's a kitten with a little... And then I know that he would talk with a small voice, so I tighten up my throat and make it sound very small.
Well, another couple of friends, apart from Shep, is Jack and Jill.
Oh.
Let's pick
beautiful.
up Jill, because...
Beautiful cats.
Yeah, that's so lovely. Oh, yeah, you made another friend there. How about dogs? Because Tweety Pie and Sylvester, they had a big bulldog, didn't they?
There's one that's kind of a jerk. He says,
well, which way did they go, George? Which way did they go? This kind of stupid guy there. Hello there, puppy dog.
That brought him in, didn't it? Can you... Do you find you can sort of converse with animals almost?
Yeah.
With these I think you made a friend for life there. Come here.
Oh, I'm glad we saw that.
Yeah, that was
right.
lovely, yeah.
Wonderful.
Well, actually, Mel set off this morning, I think, by Concord for sunnier climes in California, lucky
I
fella.
think he's very wise because this morning, of course, it was snowing feverishly all over the centre of London. By the way, we've just had a phone call from some people in an office block on the Surrey borders with London, with Greater London, to say that they saw our searchlight waving around in the sky and wondering what was going on.
Oh, dear.
Listen, when you two stop talking, I've got something here to help the freezing cold weather. 3 hot baked potatoes.
What did you keep them there for? I've been freezing
I
for the
forgot
past
I'd
10
got them,
minutes.
but they certainly are very nice. And when we finished eating them, we're going to be saving the skins for the birds.
It's
Well,
better
you
than
can
my
eat one and
favourite
keep my hands
surprise.
warm because they're freezing. We're going to be back on, what day are we on? It's Thursday today. We're going to be back on Monday, and the studio will be full of toast.
And I'm going to be looking after 2 rather big wild cats, and I don't mean Jack and Jill.
I think I'll go down the mines. See you then.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.